I'm doing something this morning that I haven't done since my Bellagio video. Check out this breakfast. It's not what you think, right? Typically it's like a breakfast sandwich or an omelet or some Greek yogurt or something. Haven't done this since Bellagio. I went full glutton. Okay, so I have a snickerdoodle brownie cookie, and then I got a red velvet muffin cupcake, not muffin, cupcake, with this cool little trick canister packaging. I love the presentation on this thing. Look at this M&M brownie. Oh, we're not done yet. A sticky maple pecan bun. This thing's so sticky I can't even lift it out of the packaging. This thing's dense. This is like a softball. This thing weighs more than a steak. I have no idea what's in here. How this weighs more than a steak, I have no idea. I got a pecan bear claw. Okay. Apparently it says almond custard on the inside. Let me tell you about what's going on. This is day number 9. This is supposed to be the most epic Vegas trip ever. During a normal Vegas trip, well, I guess it's not normal because my normal Vegas trip is anywhere between 9 and 12 days. And then, you know, I go to Miami for 15 days sometimes. So I really take some extended trips. But usually during day 9, this is where I start questioning my existence. I start questioning the trip. I start questioning everything because I'm typically run down, I'm ornery, I'm anxious, I'm overworked, I'm tired, I'm stuffed. You know, it's usually where I'm about ready to pull the plug and hit the eject button. I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling great. You know, because I mentally prepared myself for this trip. I knew exactly what I was getting into. It's a mental thing. You really have to know how to do that trip. You have to know how to pace yourself, find balance, and you have to have goals, I think, for each certain day or week, or for me, each part of the stay, right? So I know what I want to do at Cromwell. I know what I want to do at New York, and I know what I want to do at Planet Hollywood. And the cool thing for me is that I've been pacing myself. You probably wouldn't know it from my videos, but I have been pacing myself, and I still have my 5 best hotels upcoming. I've made this mistake before, and I never make it again. In fact, I've made it several times over the past years. And that is, I need to save my best hotels for the end. And the reason for that is because it's very hard to go from an amazing hotel down to a mediocre hotel. Or basically it's hard to go from a great hotel to a lesser hotel. I did this in Cancun. I started out at the Ritz-Carlton, then I went to the JW Marriott, and you can make the argument which one's better, Ritz-Carlton, JW Marriott, but Ritz-Carlton typically is the preeminent hotel within the Marriott ecosystem. And then I went down to the Westin Laguna Mar. What I should have done is gone from the Westin, JW Marriott, and then to the Ritz-Carlton, because that way it's an upgrade each time. It's very difficult mentally and from an experience standpoint to go to a lesser hotel because you've already experienced the best. You should work your way up so each hotel gets better and better. It just improves the trip, and it just has great flow. You know, just working your way up is so much better than working your way down. It's really tough going to a 5-star hotel to a 4-star hotel, but starting at a 4-star hotel, then going to a 4.5, then going to a 5, you just get an uptick each time, and I think it just makes for an overall better experience. So, I have my 5 best hotels remaining, and I'm really looking forward to sharing those with you. All right, red velvet cupcake. There's a little something on top here. I'm not sure what this is. Is this a ladybug or what? So this red velvet is pure indulgence. Wow, let's try the snickerdoodle. It's all right. It's a little dry. Look at the thickness of this though. This thing's like a hockey puck. Really glad I ordered my skinny vanilla latte. Really gotta watch those calories. My God, look at this thing. This thing weighs a pound. This is a pound brownie with M&Ms on top just to insult you. This is more fudge than brownie. You would not believe the weight of this thing. Bear claw with almond paste. I don't see any almond paste in this thing. It's pretty sad when this bear claw is the healthiest thing that you ordered for breakfast, and you ordered 5 things. Wow. All right, let's finish with this softball maple pecan sticky bun. I'm just gonna take a big pull. I'm just gonna go for it. If there's one thing this Cromwell trip has been, it has been indulgent. On my first night, I went over to Koi, and happy hour from 5 to 9. That's like the longest happy hour I've ever heard of. And I proclaim that to be the best happy hour in Vegas that I've experienced thus far. The drinks were out of this world and half price. $7 drinks at an elite upper echelon place like Koi. Sign me up every night. Great sushi rolls for $6, $8. Fantastic atmosphere, great service. It was amazing. So, of course, I ran up a tab. I mean, if the sushi rolls are $6 and the drinks are $7, you know I ran up a tab. I think I probably ordered $200 to $300 worth of food for out the door, $100, $120 with tip. And then yesterday at Drai's, I never thought I'd go to Drai's again. Okay, I thought my Drai days were over. If you would have said, James, you're going to Drai's, I would have said absolutely not. That was a different me, different part of my life. I'm over it now. But Cromwell doesn't have a pool. And I can't believe that they gave me $1,000 daybed just for being a hotel guest here. That's like the biggest hotel hack in Vegas, is that if you're staying at Cromwell, you have the opportunity to get a free daybed at Drai's. Now, I say free because it doesn't have any table limits set to it. You know, a table limit, for those of you that don't know, is that sometimes you have to spend a minimum amount of money to get that. So they might say $500 or $1,000. That's what you have to spend in order to reserve that daybed for the day. My minimum spend, $0. Now, of course, I'm going to spend some money, and just a word to the wise, like the cheapest thing they had on their drink menu was like $45. So you order 3 drinks, that's like $135. I ordered, I think, 3 drinks, and then I made some friends and ordered shots, and I think out the door, like, I was in for like $400. So it sneaks up on you really quickly. Of course, Vegas is a master at separating you from your money. Okay, it's my last night at Cromwell, and I'm off to Giada's. It's the on-site Italian place. It's critically acclaimed, it's award-winning, and I'm famished, so I'm really looking forward to it. What else is new? I'm hungry, and I'm looking forward to eating. So I want to talk about traveling and being lonely while traveling. This is a topic I get asked all the time, especially the people who I meet in person. They want to know what the lifestyle is like, because from afar, it looks like it's the perfect lifestyle. You're living in hotels, you're eating great foods, you're traveling, you're on airplanes, you're meeting new people, you're getting adventure, you're growing, and all those are true. But people want to know if it gets lonely, because I think most people want to know, is it for them? Because I think most people would get lonely. This lifestyle is not for everybody. In fact, I think it's for very, very few. Before I get into the loneliness aspect, I want to talk about what your goals are if you travel. Because you need to consider your goals, and you need to consider your objective, and then you need to weigh that with what your needs are socially and personally. Traveling for me is a personal journey, and the journey doesn't have a specific destination, as weird as that sounds. I think the goals of the journey are self-evolution, self-growth, knowledge, wisdom, to become a better person. You know, self-evolution, self-growth, self-mastery. And I think that travel is probably one of the best, if not the best things to do that. And I'll talk about that more in a second. But that doesn't mean that I'm entirely self-focused. And in fact, I'm very altruistic, very generous, and very giving. But also I do want to be the best person I can be. And the only way you can do that is to challenge yourself, to put yourself in awkward situations, to make the uncomfortable comfortable, to push yourself, to test yourself. And again, I think that traveling is one of the best proving grounds for that. In a sense, I've been really fortunate because I've been groomed to travel my entire life. When I was younger, I played hockey, and my town was so small, as I mentioned before, I grew up in a really small town, that I didn't have a hockey team. So when I was little, I was always forced to join other teams from different cities. And I didn't know anybody, I didn't know the surroundings, I didn't have any friends on the team. And then by the end of the season, I was great friends with everyone and gained a personal knowledge of the city, the culture, the people, the restaurants, everything. So that was really my first segue into getting myself out there and to becoming uncomfortable and making the uncomfortable comfortable. And I saw the growth that came from that. I saw the benefits that came from that. And I think that's a lot of the reason that I love travel, is because I was forced outside my comfort zone so early at a young age. Also, in my business career for the last decade, I was traveling constantly. So in airplanes daily, hotels daily. I think I've stayed in Marriott hotels for like 600 nights. So to think about that, like I've literally spent over a year in Marriott's. A year of my life I've spent over in Marriott's, almost 2 years. It'll be 2 years by the end of this year. So that's a lot of time. So I've been groomed to travel alone for such a long time where it's just commonplace for me now. It's just like clockwork. It's very, very easy for me to jump on a plane alone, travel to a city alone, go to a restaurant alone, and just to go out and put myself out there. So I think what I'm getting at is that you need to have a certain level of confidence and you need to have a certain level of autonomy. And I wasn't always like this. Previously, I was afraid to walk into a bar alone, afraid to walk into a restaurant alone, afraid to go outside of my hotel alone, because the unknown can be very fearful, it can be very strange, and it can also be very unforgiving. But I got to a point in my life where I couldn't find good people to travel with. And traveling the world has always been a goal of mine, it's always been a passion of mine. And I refuse to let that dream or goal die because I couldn't find someone to come with me. I think that if you're really passionate and really emphatic about your goal, you're going to accomplish it no matter what. Because I'm not going to let my love for Cancun or my love for New York City or my love for Miami take a back seat to some personal fear. And plus, finding good people to travel with is really difficult. Think about it. They need to have time off. And as an adult, just getting 1 to 2 weeks off yourself is really difficult. Now you have to tandem that with someone else who can take 1 to 2 weeks off, have that type of flexibility in their career, and be able to take it during the exact same time window that you are. So that's really hard in itself. Then you actually need to like the person, right? You need to get along with them. You're gonna be on an airplane together. You're gonna be in hotels together. You're gonna be eating all the meals together. So you have to find someone who has the career flexibility that you do, the time flexibility that you do, and you really like them enough to spend unbridled time with them for over 2 weeks. That's tough. Then you need to have the same type of style and taste they do. What if they like to sleep in and you like to get up early? What if you like attractions and they don't like attractions? What if they like different types of food? What if you like to be upper end and they like to be really casual? These are really tough questions. So when you start weighing these things, and there's so many more, you can see how difficult it is to find a great travel partner. So where am I going with this? You need to be geared for travel. If it's truly a passion of yours, then loneliness, solitude, independence, it takes a back seat because the primary thing on your mind is traveling. It's learning, it's growing, it's pushing yourself, it's knowledge, it's wisdom, it's becoming a better person. It's basically just exploring the world. And if that is the foremost preeminent thing on your mind, the solitude, the loneliness, the independence, it really takes a back seat. Also, let's not forget about solitude and loneliness. Those are two separate things. Being solitude and being independent is much different than being lonely. Lonely means you're yearning for someone, you're unhappy, you're not comfortable being by yourself. And for me, I'm a big believer that happiness comes endogenously. It comes from inside, it doesn't come exogenously, it doesn't come from the outside. So I feel that if you are endogenously happy and you're independent and you're confident and you're secure, then traveling alone is no big deal at all. And that's exactly how I am. I've been fortunate to have been groomed at a young age, playing hockey, traveling city to city for 12 years, and then also for a decade of my business career. Well, now it's just like clockwork. It's something that's very commonplace and very easy. So no, I don't feel lonely at all. Also, the beautiful thing is that if you are a traveler, you're not confined to a specific geographic region. When you travel, especially internationally, you are a global citizen. So I have friends in London, I have friends in San Diego, I have friends in Houston, I have friends all over. And I think it's a really cool thing to say, yeah, I have friends over in London, I'm gonna go visit them for the day. So really what you're doing is that you're not lonely, you just expand your base. Is that you may not have a ton of people in the specific city that you're in. Like, I don't have a ton of specific friends in New York, but I do have a ton of friends in London, and I do have a ton of friends in Northern England, and I have friends in select cities all over the world. So what it basically does, it expands your footprint socially, where you may be in a certain city and you may not have a ton of friends, but that's not the city you're relegated to. That's not the city you are confined to. You're in that city for a week, and if you don't have anybody to hang out with, it's okay because you know that you have friends domestically or even all over the world. It's a huge mindset. Traveling alone is all mental. It's all mental. And if you can get past the fear, And if you can get past the awkwardness, and if you can get past just the unknown, it is going to make you into such an amazing person. Hyper self-awareness, hyper confidence, hyper growth, hyper knowledge, hyper wisdom, just all the great things that make a tremendous person. You're going to get these from travel, but you have to work your way up to it. It's not going to be easy. So if you are someone who is codependent, and if you are someone that has a very high social need, I'm going to say for you, for that type of person, yes, traveling is lonely. But if you're a type of person who's independent, motivated, endogenously happy, fulfilled and content, and looking to grow even further, then no, traveling alone is not lonely.